Is Bill Gates the Antichrist? Is the coronavirus one of the plagues mentioned in the book of Revelation?
When is Bill Gates's serpent tongue going to come out of his mouth, and when will his horns and tail appear? This man is building Lucifer's Antichrist system.
There's apparently a fair bit of traffic going around at the moment on the internet claiming that Bill Gates has the cure to the coronavirus and that he's going to offer this vaccine with a microchip.
Bill Gates wants to track every human who's been vaccinated with a coronavirus vaccine. And he wants to put a microchip in the vaccine, a nano-sized microchip. It calls it a quantum dot tattoo. This guy's an enemy of the human race. He's an enemy of Almighty God.
And apparently, people are saying, this is fulfilling Revelation chapter 13, which describes the mark of the beast. Now, of course, in Revelation 13, it's describing a mark of the beast, but people go on, apparently on the internet, to say that this means that Bill Gates is the prophesied Antichrist. There's a couple of problems with this. In fact, there's quite a few problems with this idea. Firstly, how we understand the Bible, for a start. Because the Bible was written to someone, to particular audiences at times. So, for example, Paul's epistle to the Ephesians, no prizes for this, but it was written to the Ephesians. It's written for us because we can benefit from it, but it wasn't written to us. In other words, to understand Paul's epistle to the Ephesians requires a little bit of context. It is, as we say, kind of like the effort of looking over the shoulder of that first century reader, trying to see what they saw and hear what they heard when they read that epistle. That's how we approach the Bible. And so the book of Revelation is absolutely no different. It's not written to us. It was written to 7 churches in Asia Minor, or modern-day Turkey. And these churches had an understanding of what John was writing about in the Apocalypse, because he tells them that they would. With understanding, you can know this. He mentions that phrase in the book of Revelation. He also says that when they read it, they will be blessed and encouraged, because at the time the book of Revelation was written, around 65 AD, there was a massive persecution that had begun based on Rome killing Christians by the thousands and thousands and thousands. And so this was a church that was under great threat, many people being martyred, and John writes the Revelation as a way of letting them know what's going on from a heavenly perspective. And this mention of the beast in Revelation 13, in fact, I'm going to read this because it says this, and signs will be done by it, allowed to work in the presence of the beast. It deceives those who dwell on earth. By the way, the term Antichrist doesn't occur in the book of Revelation. Just worth considering next time someone says this is the prophesied Antichrist prophesied in the book of Revelation. It's not there. This is by the way. In Revelation 13, there's 2 beasts mentioned, and it's really important that you understand there's a first beast and a second beast, because they are interacting in a way that changes everything when you approach the text. It goes on, it says, it deceives those who dwell on the earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. All right, so this is written at a time when the Caesar of Rome, Caesar Nero, had literally established images of himself around the empire for people to worship. And if you didn't declare that Kaiser hoc kurios, which is Caesar is Lord, you risked death. So that's how, presumably, the first century readers would have understood this. So we go on, and it says, it also causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast, or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, not 666. I know there's a heavy metal song that says that, but they're not great theologians. This is talking about the number of a man that John says to that audience in 65 AD, with wisdom you can identify who it is. And they could, and they wrote about it. And it was clear who it was. It was the Caesar of Rome. His name, Caesar Germanicus Nero, added up to 666 in what's called gematria. Gematria is the idea of taking a letter and giving it a numerical value, adding it up, and that becomes the number of a person. And so what's interesting is that it's the second beast that's organising this in honour of the first beast. And the second beast comes from the earth, or the land, the promised land. And every Jew in the first century would have understood what the expression the land meant. It meant the land of Israel. And the ruler of the land at the time of the first century, 65 AD, was the high priest. And the high priest declared in the Gospel of John, at the so-called trial of Christ before Pilate, "We have no king but Caesar." And that fits in with what the writer of Revelation is saying there as well. And so that mark is a spiritual mark. It's a spiritual allegiance. It's exactly the same thing that Ezekiel saw. That some people are marked because they have allegiance to God, and some people are marked in a different way because they don't. And that's what that's about. No silicon chip embedded in the flesh can cause anyone to go to hell. None at all. So this whole stuff about Bill Gates being the Antichrist is rubbish, cannot be true, not true biblically. The idea that he may have a vaccine to the coronavirus, which I understand he is funding, he's putting a lot of money into coming up with a vaccine for it, and may God bless him in his endeavours, but that's not the mark of the beast either. So I hope we take stock, read the Bible the way it was meant to be read, not by reading things into it, but by getting out of it what God put there in the first place. For more information on this and other topics about the book of Revelation, have a look at my website, andrewcorbett.net.